today we are going to be going over our game picks for week 1 of the NFL season. We finally have made it to the season. We can finally start predicting games again. And since this is week 1, obviously we don't have a last week's record or a total record. We got a clean slate, fresh slate. Although I didn't think we did too bad last year, and hoping we can improve on our picks from last year. And in the comment section throughout the whole season, as we predict every week's games, let me know in the comment section some of your picks for every week's games, and we can sort of track how we do throughout the season in the comment section as well. But let's get into the first matchup, which is the Thursday night game between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Going to this game, the Eagles are 7.5 point favorites. I think it was 7. It opened up as a 7-point spread, but I guess the Micah Parsons trade made it a 7.5 point spread in the favor of the Eagles. I do think the Eagles have a very, very good chance of winning this game. I don't really like the Cowboys' chances. I didn't really like their chances before they traded away Micah Parsons, and now that their defense isn't looking like it's the best. I mean, you obviously get a guy like Kenny Clark back who's still very good, but I just don't know if I like the Cowboys' chances really in this game. I do think the Eagles are going to come out strong. First game of the year, reigning Super Bowl champs. And I'm going to have the Eagles win 30-23 over the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys do cover the spread, just barely. But I do think the Eagles ultimately get the win on the first game of the season. Now going to the Friday game in Brazil between the Chiefs and the Chargers. The Chiefs open the game the Chiefs are currently 3.5 point favorites as the time I'm recording this video, which is Saturday. Chiefs are 3.5 point favorites. Hopefully the conditions on the Brazil field are better than they were last year when the Eagles and Packers played, because that wasn't that good. But I feel like the Chiefs Chargers, they always give us good games. I feel like 90% of the time you can expect a very good game between these two teams. But I also feel like 90% of the time you can expect the Chiefs to win. I feel like they've had the Chargers number over the last few years. And I do think it will continue. I really like the Chiefs in this specific matchup. I know they don't have Rashee Rice, but I don't know about that Chargers secondary. So I think even a Rashee Rice-less Chiefs receiver room can still get after that Chargers secondary. But I do think it will be a close game and a high-scoring game. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs winning 30-27 over the Chargers on Friday. Now moving on to our set of Sunday games. First one we have is the Buccaneers taking on the Falcons. Buccaneers are 2.5 point favorites in this game. Now, I do think this can be a high-scoring game similar to what we saw when these two teams played Thursday night. Maybe not that high-scoring, but I think it can be a pretty high-scoring and also a pretty close game, because obviously the Bucs are the team to beat in the NFC South, but I do think the Falcons can give them a good run this season. So I do think their head-to-head matchups can be close as they were, at least in that one game last year. And I think that actually the Falcons might have swept the Bucs, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. So I do think it's going to be a good game, but I do think the Buccaneers pull away. I just think they have overall more talent than the Falcons do. I like the Falcons team, and I think they have some really good players, like Bijan, Drake London, Jesse Bates, all that. But even with some of the Bucs injuries that they have going into the year, like Tristan Wirfs, I think they just have a little more talent than the Falcons. And I'm going to have the Bucs win 31-27 over the Falcons. 3 high-scoring games to start the season. But I really like the Buccaneers this game and this season. Now, another divisional matchup. This is our 4th straight divisional matchup here. We have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals open up this game as 5.5 point favorites, which actually isn't as much as I thought. But I guess the Bengals do have a tendency to start off slow. They lost to the Patriots last year in week 1. And the Browns, although I don't think they're going to be the best team, I do think they'll be able to get either a decent amount of wins or be a competitive team with Joe Flacco at quarterback. Now maybe they turn to Shador or Dylan Gabriel later in the season, maybe when they're not winning games. But at the beginning of the year, I think they could be a somewhat competitive team with Joe Flacco at quarterback. And I think that could be the case here against Cincinnati, mainly because the Bengals don't have the best defense. And they start off slow, and it's a division game. Now, I think this could go either way. And I do like to pick one big upset every week based on the spread. And there's since it's the first week of the season, there's not a lot of heavy favorites this week. But I'm actually going to go with the Browns winning 20-17 as my upset of the week. Yes, the Bengals are going to lose another week 1 game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Browns defense can hold the Bengals offense. I mean, the Patriots defense did it last year. Maybe more like 24-20, something like that. But I like to pick one big upset, and I'm going with Cleveland beating the Bengals as my upset of the week. Next matchup we have is the Dolphins and the Colts. The Colts are 2-point favorites in this game, and I don't know if I'm buying the Colts as the favorite. I get it, they're home, and I think you like start off with a I don't know the exact number, but you start off as the favorite automatically if you're at home, and then they factor in the teams. So I think that's why the Colts are favorites going into this game, but I don't really get it. It's an indoor stadium. I feel like the Dolphins start off strong during the season. I think Tua is great when it comes to warm weather indoor stadiums. And the Colts are starting Daniel Jones at quarterback. Yeah, I don't love the Dolphins secondary, but they're going against Daniel Jones. And I think the Dolphins offense, albeit I like the Colts defense and some of the pieces they added this offseason on defense and their overall defense. I think the Dolphins can get after this Colts defense, especially since early on in the year, indoor game. And I actually really like the Dolphins in this. Like, I know the Colts are 2-point favorites, but I'm going to go Dolphins winning 28-21. 7-point victory over the Colts. So one of the bigger margin of victories I think I have this week. I really like the Dolphins in this game. I think they match up somewhat well against the Colts, and I think they can beat them. Next game is between the Panthers and the Jags. Very similar teams, I think. Jags are starting this game as 3-point favorites. I think this could be a very close game. I think this could be a high-scoring game. Jags defense wasn't the best last year. Panthers defense was terrible last year. Both teams made some additions, but were those additions enough? I'm not sure. But if you flip it to the offense, I like the Panthers offense. I like the Jags offense. So I think this could be a relatively high-scoring game considering it's not between the elite of teams necessarily. I think both these teams are going to win around the same amount of games when it's all said and done. And I don't know why. I'm just feeling the Panthers on this one. I have them winning 28-27 and a nail-biter in Jacksonville. I don't know. It's a 50-50 coin toss to me. And if I'm going based on the score, it's who's going to get 28 and who's going to get 27. And you know what? I'm feeling the Panthers on this one. I got the Panthers winning 28-27 over the Jags. Next matchup is between the Raiders and the Patriots. The Patriots are 2.5-point favorites going into this game. A game that I think is going to be very low scoring. Patriots tend to play in low scoring games. I do like the Raiders off season, mainly bringing in Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty. The Patriots did take former Raiders linebacker Robert Spillane, so a little Robert Spillane revenge game, or I guess more of a, who knows, I don't know, but I like both teams. I think both teams can exceed the expectations. I think the Patriots actually have a decent amount of expectations to win a handful of games close to 500, but I think the Raiders can win a lot more games than people maybe think they will. But I do think this is going to be a low-scoring game because the Patriots got a good defense, and with Mike Vrabel at coach, I think their defense is going to be good. The Raiders, I don't know if I trust their defense, but I think they can have a decent coached defense. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. And I got the Patriots winning 21-17 over the Las Vegas Raiders. A little bit of an ugly game, but I think the Patriots can pull away there at the end. And they cover the spread as well by winning by 4. Next game is between the Cardinals and the Saints. Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites in this game. Saints have announced that Spencer Rattler will be the Week 1 starter. Don't know how I feel about that. Didn't love what I saw out of Spencer Rattler in minimal playing time last year. I do think that some people think like the Saints are going to win like 1 or 2 games. I think they can get 3 or 4, maybe even 5. They have some pieces on that team. But I think the Cardinals are just more talented in almost every aspect. Like there's not many players on the Saints that I think are better than players on the Cardinals. So I do think the Cardinals win this relatively easily. They started the game as 4.5. They opened this game at 4.5-point favorites, and now they're 6.5-point favorites. Again, I just think they're the better team. And I got the Cardinals winning 24-17 against the Saints. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The one thing the Saints have that I think is decent is a defense. And the Cardinals' defense did get improved this offseason, so I think it'll be a low-scoring game. But I do think, again, the Cardinals win this one. Next, we have the Steelers versus the Jets. We have a matchup of quarterbacks that swapped teams. Aaron Rodgers going from the Jets to the Steelers, and Justin Fields going from the Steelers to the Jets. Talk about low-scoring, ugly games. I think this is going to be one of them. I do think Rodgers can have a decent year on the Steelers, But it's the Steelers, and I don't see them. I have confidence that the Steelers are always going to go under when it comes to their games. Same thing with the Jets and Justin Fields. So I don't think this is going to be a very high-scoring game particularly. Although I do think it could be a close game because both teams have very good defenses. When healthy, the Jets and Steelers are one of the best defenses in the league, and Jets are a very good defense. It's the offenses that are the question marks, which is why I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But honestly, I think the difference in this game. Now, the Steelers, I think, do have an advantage on when it comes to the two defenses. But I think the overall difference in this game is going to be Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. And I'd rather trust Aaron Rodgers and rather have Aaron Rodgers than Justin Fields. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh winning this one 17-13 over the Jets. Next up is another division game here between the Commanders and the Giants. Commanders are 6-point favorites in this game. Now, about these two teams, I feel like people are they're looking at the Giants' schedule and think they're going to be bad. And I don't think they're going to get a ton of wins because of that schedule. But I think as a roster, they actually have a pretty decent team. And I think Russell Wilson can play decent quarterback and get you wins even against difficult opponents like Washington. And I also don't know if Washington's going to have as good of a year as they did last year. I still think they can get into the playoffs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they had a little bit of I wouldn't call it a fluke season last year, but they definitely were winning in a lot of close ways and crazy ways that it's kind of hard to repeat how they were winning games last year. But overall, they're still a really good team. I still think they're going to get a ton of wins, and I do think they're going to beat the Giants here. But I feel like 6 points, a 6-point spread's a little too high for this game. I think it can be a very close game. I mean, Russell Wilson, when he was a quarterback for the Steelers, beat Washington on the road last year, and now I think he has I don't know if he has a better team than he did in Pittsburgh. Definitely doesn't. But he still has a decent team. So I do think this is going to be a close game. I'm still going Washington here, though. But I only have them winning by 3, 24-21, versus the 6-point spread that it currently is at. Now, probably the biggest spread of the year, or the week, is the Broncos and Titans. Broncos are 8-point favorites going into this game. I mean, you got first overall pick, rookie quarterback Cam Ward taking on one of the best defenses in the league. And there is not a very good track record when it comes to number one overall pick quarterbacks in their first game of their career. It's not a good track record. And I don't know if I trust that to continue here against a Denver Broncos defense on the road. Like, you're at Denver too. It's just an uphill battle for Cam Ward. I do think the Titans are going to have a decent season. I do think Cam Ward is going to have a decent season. But this definitely is a very tough unfortunate way to start your career if you're Cam Ward. And I am going to have the Broncos winning this one 27-17. This is going to be my lock of the week. I don't see really much outcomes that ends in the Titans win here. I'm fairly confident that the Broncos will win this week 1 matchup. Now we got the Niners and Seahawks NFC West matchup. The Niners are 2.5-point favorites. Seahawks are at home. I do think this is going to be a close game. I feel like the whole NFC West is going to be close. I feel like the 4th place team in the NFC West and the 1st place team in the NFC West might be like a game or 2 apart from each other. And I think every matchup between these 4 teams can be very close and very competitive. You got Sam Darnold now in his first game as a Seahawk. I'm glad he's at home. If I'm trying to pick the Seahawks to win this game, I'm glad it's at home for Sam Darnold instead of traveling to San Fran. Now, one big question mark, obviously, with the Niners is their health. But you don't have to worry about that as much week 1, right? They're healthy. They haven't played games yet. We're not in week 12 where all their players could be hurt. This is week 1. They're healthy. But so is Seattle. And I really like the Seahawks team. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going with the home team here. I'm going Seattle winning 24-21 over the San Francisco 49ers. Another division game between the Lions and the Packers. Now, when this first was announced that this was the matchup, it was like, oh, good matchup between 2 pretty good NFC North teams. Lions obviously had a much better record last year than the Packers. But now the Packers add Micah Parsons to the mix, and now they become not only a threat in the NFC North, but a legitimate threat in the entirety of the NFC. So I think the Packers could have won this game without trading for Micah Parsons, but this definitely does add a little bit to the Lions' chances of trying to win this game. Now, the Lions have played very good, especially to begin the season. They beat the Chiefs that one year. They beat the Rams. They've done well to begin the season. But this is another difficult test for this Detroit team. You don't got Ben Johnson. You don't got Aaron Glenn. You lost some other pieces, especially on that O-line. The O-line that's got to now block Micah Parsons. I do think this could be a decently high-scoring game. I like the Lions' defense now that they're healthy, but I don't like them as much as I like their offense. And I think the Packers' offense can be better than their defense. It's still a good defense for the Packers, don't get me wrong. But outside of Micah Parsons, some really good safeties. They don't have a lot in the secondary, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So I think it'll be a somewhat high-scoring game, a close game. But I'm going with the home team here, winning 28-24 over the Detroit Lions. I originally had the Lions winning this game, but I think Micah Parsons in his first game as a Packer is going to try and take over this game. And I think he has the chances of doing so. So I'm going with the Packers, 28-24. Next, we have the Texans versus the Rams. The Rams open this game as 2.5-point favorites. I think originally I thought the Texans could win this game only if Stafford wasn't playing. But now that it seems like Stafford's completely fine and completely healthy, now who knows about the whole entire season, but week 1, I think Stafford's going to be good to go. So I do like the Rams' chances in this game a little bit more than the Texans, mainly because the Texans' O-line, while I do think it's improved, it's still not great, and this Rams D-line is one of the better ones in the league with Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Poona Ford. That's a really good D-line. Yes, their linebacker group isn't great, but that's an amazing D-line. I think they're going to get after C.J. Stroud a ton. But I also think the Texans' defense can do well against this new-look Rams offense with Devontae and Puka. So I think it'll be a low-scoring game and a close one. But I'm going to go with the Rams slightly, 23-20 over the Houston Texans. Now we move on to our Sunday night game between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. What a Sunday night game this one is. This could determine a lot when it comes to playoff seeding, home field, because both these teams are more than likely to end up having to play each other in the playoffs. This is a crucial game already in week 1. It's so close that the Bills are 1-point favorites in this game. And this is as 50-50 as it comes for me. Like, either team could easily win this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. Yes, the Ravens have a very good defense, but it's Josh Allen we're talking about. Josh Allen seems to score a lot of points against a lot of defenses. Like, you don't really see the Bills putting up 14 points or something like that. So I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Both teams are going to have to score. Both quarterbacks are going to have to score. I really like the Ravens' defense. And obviously their offense is very good too. But I think I'm just going to play the safe option here and lean the home team. And I'm going to have the Bills winning 30-28 in a classic here, week 1 on Sunday night. And finally, the Monday night game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings are 1.5-point favorites. J.J. McCarthy's debut on the road on Monday night against the Bears defense that can be good. But I'm not 100% bought in on the Bears defense. But I do really like their offense. The O-line improvements. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a very good year too. You have a very good set of 3 receivers in Moore, Odunze, and Luther Burden. DeAndre Swift, I think, should have a much better year with this new O-line. But I just think that, if excluding the quarterbacks, I think the talent on Minnesota, because now they got Thielen. So if it was just Jefferson with no Addison, I'd be like, I don't know. But now you got Thielen to kind of help out J.J. McCarthy. We already saw what Thielen was able to do when playing with a young quarterback. And now he has to play with another one. I think he can be that safety blanket, especially when Thielen's getting all the attention from the Bears secondary. And I think that defense in Minnesota is just too good. And I'm going to go Vikings winning 24-21 over the Chicago Bears. And that will conclude our game picks for week 1 of the NFL season. Again, in the comment section below, let me know some of your predictions for these week 1 games. Excited that the season's back. Can't wait to start going over predictions again and predicting every week's games. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.